So here we're looking at part 3 of worksheet 4, unit 3. And we're going to try to do this in as few sketches as possible. So we're going to start sketching on the XY plane. I'm going to make the rectangle. Here I'm looking at the side view. Actually, it's the front view on the top right corner. It's 40 wide and it has a full height of 128. And then we're going to draw a line to find where the center of this rectangle is. So we can get the midpoint here. I can hover for the midpoint there. And so not only is our circle going to be centered there, but then some of the other geometries for the cylinders coming out of the side are all centered in this point. So first I'm going to make the circle, which is a diameter of 30. This circle is the one that actually protrudes out and it looks like a cylinder, but then I'm going to make a couple other circles that we can then trim in order to make the other geometries. So one has a diameter of 36, one has a diameter of 50, and we can see that even overlaps and comes outside of the rectangle. Whoa. All right, so now all we have to do is make these lines to create 40-degree angles. The first one, we can see that the 40 degrees is measured from the top, and so that would be 20 degrees less than 90. So we can make that a 70-degree angle. And the other line, we need it to be 20 degrees more than 90, which is 110 degrees. Notice that the length doesn't really matter as long as they intersect all of these circles. And then what we're going to do is, from where it intersects this 36 diameter circle, I'm going to make a line that goes out exactly 8 along the line. And this is going to be a little bit tricky because I made this so close. I'm going to have to redraw that. So you can see I made those lines a little bit longer. I'm going to zoom in. And we're going to draw a line from that second largest circle outward, 8. And to do that, or we are doing that so that then we can center our arcs that we're later going to trim on. Next, I'll make a circle centered at the end of those points that has a diameter of 16. I can also just click both ends of the line segment I just made. And so this curve right here is actually what we are going to keep. And where it intersects the 50 diameter, that's where we're going to keep that as well. So at this point, I'm going to trim a lot. I'm going to trim on each circle, all parts except for that part that we're keeping. I then also want to get rid of this 50 diameter circle. And so we can see that the top is forming here. And so this kind of wavy curve is what we need to keep. We're going to repeat the whole process on the bottom, and then we'll have a shape that we can extrude. And so now once we have the top and the bottom, we can trim out this 36 diameter circle, and then we're going to get the line tool and just make sure that we have a closed shape by drawing lines on the outside along the edge. We can then finish the sketch and begin extruding. First what I'm going to extrude is the rectangle. And so I actually want to make sure that I select all of the different regions in here. And the rectangle should be a depth of 54. At this point, extrusion 1 is hidden, sketch 2, so I want to go right click it, share the sketch. And now looking on this side over here, we can extrude just the center section. And notice that by default, it is assuming that we want to cut this shape out, where in reality we want to add the shape and make it even longer than what we have so far. So I have that whole section. I'm going to go back to join. And then here we'll have to do asymmetric again. Now I want to take a pause and go and edit my first extrusion. If we were to do a symmetric extrusion, that's 54, then we can actually keep our sketch right in the middle of the drawing. And since this part is symmetrical, I'm going to actually edit and do that so that when we go to extrude on sketch 2 for the second part, that extrusion then can we can symmetrically extrude that as well. In order to do this, I'm going to there we go. So I'm going to have to zoom in so I can see those different regions. So then we can extrude this symmetrically as well. And we see that this goes out for a full width of 78. So we get a different view here. We can see that that then goes 78 or half of 78 from the middle in both directions. And then we're going to do one more similar extrusion. This time we just need the circle. And so I'm going to zoom in here. And just get the center circle of 30. We're going to do it symmetrically again and get a full depth of 128. So by using the symmetric extrusion, we have to do less subtracting since we're always going from this middle plane, which is where that first sketch was. Now that we're done using that first sketch, I'm going to turn off the visibility, and then we can continue with chamfering, making a hole, and then drawing that sketch on the side and extruding that out. I'll start with the chamfer, which is a distance of 2. I'll click on this edge and the other circle edge. We can use the hole tool. This will be a simple hole, no counter bore, centered right in the middle and going all the way through with a diameter of 15. And then we can fill it the top here with a radius of 6. So now we have that rounded shape. The last thing we have to do is draw on this face, which will just be our second sketch, and we'll draw that eye shape. We'll fillet it in the sketch and then extrude it out. So I drew that eye shape, and I'll extrude it out now. Making sure we have all of the regions selected. I'll make sure it's cutting through all the way. And as I was doing that, I could tell that the fillets on the inside of this shape were 6. The fillets on the outside should have been with a radius of 13. So if I go back to that fillet and I double click it, I'll be able to edit it and change the size to 13. It'll retain which edges I had selected. And that is how you complete part 3 on worksheet 4.